Yes, people, Arsenal with Ash, Champions League semi-final time. Arsenal, PSG, first leg at the Emirates, and I'm buzzing. I am buzzing. I can't wait for this one. It's been so long since we've been in the Champions League semi-finals, man. The last time I think was against Man United. Was that 09? I think the year they won it. I remember Ronaldo scoring that free kick against Almunia. Sat in that seat and I was fuming. I was gutted, man. I was broken. Before that, it was obviously the Villarreal semi-final, which was nerve-wracking. I remember it, that one as well. Absolutely nerve-wracking. 1-0 at home, and then what was it? 0-0 at their place. Lehmann saved a pen from Riquelme. Baller, by the way. If you know your football, you know Riquelme. But yeah, we ain't had nothing since. So this is the biggest game that I've probably been to from what I can remember. Like, it's an absolutely huge game. Two teams who have both never won the Champions League. One of them will be in the final hoping for their first chance at glory, and I need it to be us, man. I need it to be us. But we're coming up against a team who are rejuvenated. A team we played earlier in the season, but are not that team anymore. They've got used to the manager's ideas and they're playing like a proper team. They've knocked out two English sides already. They're going to fancy their chances. Liverpool, Villa, both lost to PSG. And now they're trying to take us down and get to the Champions League final. Imagine, just on a little side track, imagine they do win the Champions League the year Mbappe left. Mind games. But I'm not trying to hear that story. This is about us, our destiny, and our first Champions League win, we hope. But yeah, the visitors, PSG. We played them earlier this season, like I said. A 2-0 win at home. I think it was Saka and Havertz with the goals. And that night, it was so comfortable, man. It was so comfortable. Physically, we bullied them, dominated them. Defensively, we managed all of their attacks. We pretty much controlled the game, I remember it. And they just weren't really a threat at all. And at that point, no one would have said that PSG are going to make it to the Champions League semi-finals. Because even after that, they ended up in the group stage, finishing something like 15th. Like, they just about made it to the playoff stage, where they ended up playing against Brest. But that's when the season turned around for them. That's when they started cooking, like in the Champions League. They smoked Brest. I can't even remember what the aggregate score. I think it was over 10-0. And then obviously they played Liverpool in the quarterfinals, and no, not the quarterfinals, the last 16, sorry, and they were dominant at their place, so dominant, but couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Sounds like us, right? Last minute, Harvey Elliott gets a goal, it's 1-0 Liverpool, smash and grab, and you're thinking, Anfield, PSG have got no chance, they've bottled it again, whatever. Go to Anfield, do their thing, get a 1-0 win on penalties, massive night for them. Then they come up against Aston Villa. Comfortably beat them at home, 3-1. Obviously, they went 1-0 down, which was a shock, but comfortably wiped the floor with Villa. But in that second leg, Villa had them on ropes. Yeah? They were one goal away from winning it, and they only really conceded their goals through mistakes. So PSG were on the absolute ropes, especially when it got to 3-2. Villa created so many chances in that game. And that is the type of performance that gives me confidence in my team, knowing that defensively we're better than Villa, and we can also cause PSG loads of problems in attack. And we've shown that this season already, because the defence they're going to put out is practically the defence that we played against. The same with the midfield, apart from, I can't remember who their midfield was on the day actually, but I do remember Vitinha and Jan Evers playing. So whether Fabian Ruiz was there, I don't think he was. It might have been Zaire Emery. I can't remember. Let me know in the comments. And then the front three was Desiree Doué, Barcola and Lee Kang-in. But obviously, the threats have changed now. You've got Dembele. You've got Kvaratskhelia. You've got a Doué that's settled in and looking crazy. Barcola, baller as well. So the attacking threat has leveled up so much, and Luis Enrique is a top coach. I've always rated him. He's got his ideas, he's got them playing how he wants them to play. Their pressing is off the scale. but they're still vulnerable defensively, very very vulnerable defensively, and weak in midfield. Technically excellent in midfield, but physically, which is what we saw at the Emirates earlier this season, is where we can dominate them. And that's where I'm looking at Declan Rice, and that's why I'm fuming at Thomas Partey that he got himself suspended for the first leg of this game. But yeah, Declan Rice, I'm looking at you. Mikel Merino, you need to be fit. I'm looking at you at dominating this game. Lewis Skelly inverting, Timber inverting. Physically, we will outpower them. And yeah, we can create an overload in that midfield as well with the inverted fullbacks, and even if Marino's playing in the 9, dropping into the 9. So yeah, I am confident. And PSG, yes, they've won their league. The time they won it, they were unbeaten. Their last 2 games, however, they've drawn. I know against Nantes they were it was quite a rotated side after the Villa game. But in their last game against, I think it was Nice at home at the weekend, they lost 3-1. And they started with the 11 that is most likely going to start against us. And that was a big shock. That was their first defeat of the league season. So hopefully that puts a bit of doubt in their mind. And if we can start fast, the Emirates is going to be electric. It's going to be so electric, it might even be the best atmosphere we've seen there. I know that the club are preparing a lot of like presentations and tifos or whatever they're called before the game to get the atmosphere and everyone buzzing. Not that it's needed, to be honest, but it's going to make it even better. And we saw them nearly drown at Villa Park. So if they want to play their technical football, we go 100% in them. We can do what we've done to Real Madrid and practically end the tie in the first leg. That's what I want to see. Because going to their place, obviously the away leg, you always want to have that at home. But it's going to be difficult. We're going to have to go over there and do a job. And their attacking threat is insane. Insane. The fluidity from the front 3, their options off the bench. It's going to be a very, very, very tough game out there. And obviously at the Emirates as well, but more so out there. But yeah, we've got to play our game, be physical, control the game, try and win that ball high up the pitch, force errors because they've got the errors in them. And even Donnarumma, he's a man that can make a worldie save, but also he's got errors in him. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I can't wait for this game, but I'm also absolutely bricking it because we can't have knocked out Real Madrid and not get to the final at least. So that's what I'm trying to see. But yeah, my predicted lineup: David Raya in goal, who had an absolute stinker last time out against Palace, but we're going to let that go and brush that under the carpet because that is the one game he's had poor this season. He's been magnificent for pretty much the rest of the games. So yeah, David Raya in goal. Right back has to be Jurriën Timber. Whoever's on that side, he's going to lock them up. Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, Doué, whoever wants to go out there, Barcola. I expect Timber to do a job, and he done a job on Barcola in the game at the Emirates earlier this season already. Centre back Saliba, Kivior. They've built up a nice little partnership there. Saliba's made a couple of mistakes in his last few games, but I put that down to lapse of concentration and maybe tiredness. But I have no doubt that his concentration is going to be top for this one, and he's going to be feeling fresh, especially after a nice week off and the magnitude of the game as well. Kivior, he just needs to be what he has been the last few weeks. Concentrate, don't dive in too much. Keep your eye on the ball. Don't get done because we're playing against some dynamic attackers, man. It's going to be a tough evening. At left back, I've been and ahhing about this all week. Like, what do we do? Do we have Lewis Skelly in there or do we put him in midfield? The problem is, Calafiori is not fit enough to start. If he's in the squad, he's not going to be fit enough to start. Don't trust Tierney. He hasn't played enough football. Don't trust him to be able to withstand whoever they've got on that side. Zinchenko, absolutely not good enough defensively. So it's going to have to be Lewis Skelly. It's going to have to be Miles. And it's a shame because we're going to have to take away, when you're going to hear what I say about the midfield, but we're going to have to take away from up top. And that's a problem, man. It's a problem. So yeah, Lewis Skelly in midfield doing his thing. As long as he concentrates, I'm sure he'll be fine. And in midfield, it will be Declan Rice in the 6, Marino in the 8, and Odegaard, obviously, in the team. So that's the midfield 3 I'd go with. That's the midfield 3 that played against Ipswich and tore them apart. Obviously, this is different opposition, but it allows us to continue with that physicality in midfield that we would have had with a Partey Rice. So Rice and Merino to get that physicality and dominate that PSG midfield three. But unfortunately, in the front three, that means no Merino, which sounds mad because he is actually a midfielder. But that physicality up top, ruffling the feathers of the centre backs, is what we needed. But it's looking like it's gonna have to be Trossard in the 9. And although Trossard's a good footballer, he doesn't have any physical presence. He can drift in and out of games. Yes, he'll help us with an overload in midfield with him dropping into the 9, but will he get in the way of other players? I don't know. And will that take away from our attack, our threat in the box? What it's going to have to be Merino box crashing. He needs to be fit and he needs to be box crashing because we need that presence in the box. And then Saka and Martinelli, they got a massive game. This is massive for Saka and Martinelli. Saka on one side against Nuno Mendes. Nuno Mendes probably been the best left back this season in Europe. And then Hakimi on the other side against Martinelli. Two road runners, yeah? Two absolute road runners who sometimes don't really know what they're doing. So it's going to be an interesting battle over there. But Martinelli's going to have to work back, but also push Hakimi back. And the way PSG seem to set up, their midfielders don't really drift wide too tough. And the front three aren't going to work as hard as probably our front three will. So Martinelli and Saka are going to have opportunities to go 1v1 against these players. Nuno Mendes is a tough cookie, man. Tough cookie. He locked up Salah. Saka gave him problems at the Emirates, but obviously he's a much more confident Nuno Mendes. So yeah, Saka's got a battle out there and he needs to be at his sharpest. Because yeah, if he can get the better of him, we got a great chance. So yeah, that's the team, man. That's the team that I think can do the job. I'm going to go with a first leg win of... I'm not going to go too mad. I'm going to say 2-0 again like we did earlier this season. I'm going to go with a Saka goal and I'm going to go with a Merino goal. Hopefully it's more. But the main thing is we win the game and take something to Paris with us to go and finish the job over there. But yeah, man, I'm buzzing for this one. And quick shout out to the Arsenal ladies as well, because they've made it to the Champions League final. They knocked out Lyon, who are unbeaten in all competitions this season. They went to France after a 2-1 loss at home and beat them 4-1. That's massive for them. And it's mad because they ain't been in the Champions League final for, 18 years? Us, I think, is 19 now. Obviously, they've won it. Only English team to win it in the women's game. They knocked out Real Madrid in the quarterfinals. We knocked out Real Madrid in the quarterfinals. They came up against a French team in the semi-final. We're coming up against a French team in the semi-final. And now they're playing Barcelona in the final. And there's a high possibility that we play Barcelona in the final. So yeah, can you imagine Arsenal against Barcelona in the women's and the men's Champions League finals? But we'd have to win it. We'd have to win it on both. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, your comments, how you feel about this game. If you're nervous, if you're buzzing, if you're confident, how you feel the game's going to go, your predicted lineup, your score predictions in the comments and all of that stuff. And yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll see what happens, man. Come on, you Gunners, let's go.